I almost forgot to keep filming. I'm on the Emirates flight. You know, honestly, travel is already so overwhelming and exhausting. Look, I've just started and my hair is already wild. And yep, we're really excited about all the TV that they have for kids. So having to deal with also thinking ahead if you're gonna get, you know, you're gonna arrive and you have to get a taxi in a hotel, or you sleep at the airport, hang out for an extra 6 hours. So you can go to the bridge, so you can cross, and are they gonna give you a hard time? And all that extra stress. It's not like normal travel where you like arrive in an airport and then you go home. It's not like that. So it's just really overwhelming, and I just totally forgot that I was making videos. So I've had a really fussy baby, and she is now breastfeeding to sleep for takeoff, and we are going. And this is the 4-year-old wants to show you, almost 5. They have these. Go Emirates Airline, lots of things for kids, including good entertainment. So yeah, we're on our first flight, Emirates Airline, going to Dubai, and we will check back in again with everyone after, there we go, Emirates Airline, after we are in Dubai in like 13 hours. Okay. On second thought, in 13 hours, I'm probably going to be too exhausted to say some of this stuff, so I just want to add a few comments in right now. This mask does not stay up very well.
Yeah, we can ring the bell on this.
Yeah, he can ring for the flight attendant, and she comes and helps him. He loves that. Okay, so, you know, I know it's really hard for a lot of Americans to understand what's happening in occupied Palestine, but we live under an illegal Israeli occupation. What that means is that any occupying force is supposed to be temporary until you get the occupied country kind of on its feet or whatever, and you move out of there. So in the case of Palestine, we've been occupied since 1967 in the West Bank and Gaza, and since 1948 in historic Palestine. So since 1967, that's the occupation people are talking about that's illegal, because Israel moved their civilian population in to settle the occupied territories. So this illegal occupation runs every aspect of Palestinian life. What does that mean? This will not stay up. What does that mean? That means that we buy our water back from the Israelis. We get our, you know, my visa. I apply to the Palestinian Ministry of Interior, and it comes as an Israeli state-issued stamp in Hebrew, and it's stamped Judea and Samaria only. So even though I pay the Palestinians and they process the visa, they're really just kind of the courier service, if you will. So occupation takes a lot of forms, and one of those, one of the forms of occupation in my life is my visa situation. And that is under international law, it is the occupying power's responsibility to ensure the rights and health of the occupied people. And Israel obviously completely fails to do that, in every possible way. So my husband, as an occupied person, has the right. If you're a good listener today and you're helpful on the plane, then after we sleep. It's nighttime right now. So my husband is an occupied person, and the Israeli state, as the occupying power, is responsible to ensure his family's residency. So what that means is that I, his American wife, should have residency. Instead, we have been together since 2009, married since 2012. I have been a tourist the entire time I've been in Palestine, even since being married to him. So I'm on a visitor's visa that I renew every 6 months, which means that I'm very temporary, and he's home and I'm not, because they kept me out because there's no tourism with COVID and they consider me a tourist. And it also means that I'm only allowed to cross the bridge from Jordan inside because I'm married to a Palestinian. So people really can't understand that. Like, aren't you American? Yeah, but I married an Arab. So my American rights and my, like registering my children at the embassy, my American rights they're void to the Israelis. I'm not allowed to go to the American embassy. I'm not allowed to enter Jerusalem, go to Tel Aviv, register my kids, much less how much more Palestinian rights are violated. So my husband is not American. His passport is totally void once we enter Israel. Actually, when we enter Jordan, he has to enter, and my children have to enter on their Palestinian passports as Palestinians from Jordan onwards. And it just changes everything. I mean, at the bridge crossing, the King Hussein Bridge crossing from Jordan, it's despicable. It is disgustingly filthy. It is intentionally chaotic. It's a horrible experience. And this is the only way that Palestinians are allowed to enter and exit the West Bank. So we're herded through there, charged money at every point along the way of it, and treated really awfully. So I've always wanted to show people what that experience is like. So that's what this video series is a tribute to. What do Palestinians have to go through to travel? And in my case, what do I have to go through to go home, to visit my parents in the States, and my in-laws live in the States also, and then to go back to our home in Ramallah. This is our trip.